Hola familia, I'm Roselyn, and this is Growing Up Spanglish, a podcast about the chaos of being raised between two cultures. If you grew up speaking English at school and Spanish at home, navigating traditions, family expectations, and everything in between, then you're in the right place. Our stories, our experiences, and maybe a little chisme along the way. This podcast is recorded at Collab Studios in the heart of Miami.
What if I said the intro all in Spanish? I'm going to do it for you.
Do it.
Hola familia, bienvenidos a otro capítulo del podcast Growing Up Spanglish. Me llamo Roselyn. Y aquí mi compañero se llama KJ.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Just wanted to switch it up on you.
Hey, you see, I was ready, though. I was with you. You wasn't going to get me off guard. Nope.
So we're going to kick things off with our word of the day.
Okay.
Do you remember last week's or last time's?
Preparing? No, it starts with a P, I'm pretty sure.
Let me see.
It means belonging. That's what it means. Last episode's show is the word meant belonging.
I forgot it too.
What belonging?
It was, but now I can't remember the Spanish word for it. Pertenencia?
Pertenencia. That's what it was. I knew it. Okay. I was close. I just couldn't say it.
I'm learning too. All right, so we're going to kick it off with this week's word of the day.
Let's do it.
And it's going to be criar.
Criar. Criar. And you want me to guess this. Can I get my Spanglish?
Okay.
Sentence, please.
I'm going to say a past tense of the word. My mom me crió con chancletazo, but I'm trying to criar my daughter with more patience and therapy.
Raise?
Yeah.
Hey. Context clues pay off, dog.
Clues, baby.
You guys make sure you take your FCAT.
I don't think it's called the FCAT anymore.
Oh, whatever it is.
I don't know what they do. They do a standardized test, but I don't think it's called the FCAT anymore.
Well, Esau passed the second class. Like, just do whatever you got to do to learn, like, your context clues. You got it.
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
So for those at home, criar means raise. So that was this week's word of the day. And KJ nailed it. This week on Growing Up Spanglish, we're sitting down with someone who truly embodies the reach for the stars energy, Ashley Flete. Ashley is a proud Dominicana, a FAMU grad, a lash artist, a marketing coordinator, and most importantly, a mamacita, to a beautiful 5-year-old daughter. She grew up in a traditional Hispanic household, old school parents, big family dynamics, summers in DR and New York, but she's carving her own path and raising her daughter with a fresh perspective. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. And that was really good. That was amazing.
We're so glad to have you here. We could just keep the conversation going because we had already started getting into the juice of it all. So we'll just kick things off with childhood and where you grew up and everything. You said you grew up but you were not born here, right?
No.
So you were born in New York.
New York, yes. So I was born in New York, Washington Heights. And then around 1 year old, my father had an accident. He was a mechanic, a car part fell on his face. And he got a plate and all that, and the temperature would affect his face.
Oh,
so
interesting.
From that point on, my mom and my dad decided to move down to Miami, and I've been here ever since. Both of my parents are Dominican. Their parents are full Dominican, lived in Dominican Republic, and just grew up with that Hispanic background, which was very interesting, learning how to speaking Spanish at home and then translating and changing it up to speaking English everywhere else because my mama was not having that. She was like, el que sabe dos lenguajes or el que sabe hablar español y inglés vale doble. So I was like, oh, more money? Oh.
I wish the paychecks reflected that.
Right, because they want you to do both.
I had plenty of job where I did not get paid to speak Spanish.
To be out
and
here
I was
translating.
so like, yes, I'm bilingual.
Inglés sin barrera, what you mean?
And they was not paying you for that.
Facts. So, yeah, I'm the youngest of essentially 4 of us. 2 were previously from my father, and then I have a sister with my mother. So that was also very interesting. I grew up with both sets of grandparents. So I always tell people that to me it's literally the foundation of who I am because I saw what it was to really stick to your vows, like stick to that commitment. Both my grandfather and my grandmother from my dad's side were alive, and then my grandparents from my mom's side were alive as well. So growing up, I got to see their dynamic, and then I got to see my parents' dynamic. And now that I'm older and I have a child, these generational things are true.
So both grandparents were still together with their...
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up basically seeing long-term marriages, commitment, and like you
Till
said,
death do us
taking
part.
serious your vows.
Yes.
And how does that play a part in how you show up in relationships, or what you expect from them at the very least?
Honestly, respect, loyalty, communication. I will say that my grandfather on my mother's side died of cancer. So I saw what it was to really love someone through and through, regardless of whatever issues they may have had. Life happens, couples go through things. But to me, they taught me that you made a choice with this person. So once you get those vows in place, you literally are choosing to be with that person every day. And that's how I feel with my partner. It's literally a choice. Every day is not going to be a great day. Some days we want to argue and fight like cats and dogs. And some days I'm like, well, you're my best friend. What would I do without you? But I tell people all the time, because he and I are not married, I'm not in a rush for marriage because I truly grew up understanding. I saw my dad bathe my mom when she was having her back spasms. I've seen what it really is to be there for your partner, and I don't take that lightly. So to me, a wedding is not, the $10,000 event of the night. It's not the dress. It's none of that. That's literally a dot in the whole picture.
I come from a similar background where my parents have been together for about to be 50 years now at this point. That's crazy. Yeah, I think about 50 years.
Like the different phases of themselves.
Right.
That
I've been single for a significant amount of time. And it's so funny. I always tell my friends that everyone except me is worried about the fact how single I am. I promise you guys.
living it.
I love it. I love it here. I'm at peace. It took me a while, and I will not allow anybody to disturb this peace I've achieved. But this whole entire concept of marriage is because my parents have been together for so long, is why I'm very weary about letting anybody be my husband. Like you said, I've seen my parents go through thick and thin. I know my parents' story of how they met, the dynamics of those very first years in their relationship. I've seen my parents argue like cats and dogs to the point where I'm just like, no, never. I'm not doing that. But then seeing them still be together all these years, the family they built, the household they built, both contributed to the relationship. I didn't come from a household where my mom was just like a stay-at-home mom or anything like that. I saw my mom, like she always says, trabajando como una perra en la calle, because my mom was a mail carrier. And my mom would, whatever she wanted to get for herself, she would get for herself. You know what I mean? She ain't never had to worry about asking my dad for nothing. But my dad always showed up and provided and everything like that. So the dynamics of my parents' marriage and how they showed up for each other. And also, once you see your parents' relationship when all the kids are out of the house, because that's a whole different...
Girl.
That's a whole different ball game. It's like, when you're a child, this is the way I think about it, and y'all could tell me your own opinions. You somehow think that every argument that's in the house, any friction that's in the house stems from you, stems from the kids. We did something. Don't say that to the kid, and the other ones don't question my authority in front of the kids and those kind of things. So you always think that the friction that happens, or at the very least in my household, you just think, oh man, they're arguing because of something I did, or I triggered the argument or something like that. So when you leave the house and you see how they interact with each other now that the kiddos are gone, that's a breaking point for a lot of marriages where they're
Really like each other?
we don't really like each other, or we no longer have a common denominator. So
What's the point?
do we need to still be? Yeah. At the end of the day, I think my parents like each other.
I would hope
As
so.
human beings, I think my parents genuinely like each other. They enjoy each other's company. They're like constantly traveling, very connected. And I think that in our generations, like, I don't really see that as often. I really don't see people who genuinely enjoy their partner.
I will say this. I always have been a little bit wise beyond my years. So growing up, I knew that certain things were because my parents didn't heal from their childhood. That's because I saw how they reacted with their parents. And as a child, I didn't understand like the outburst, because I feel like as being Hispanic, our culture, or at least for Dominicans, they're not really taught how to deal with their emotions. Everything is suck it up. Oh, well, mañana otro día, ponte los zapatos, ponte la pila, like, you know?
Yeah.
And being a child, you need help getting through your emotions, understanding your emotions.
Understanding them.
So now that I am where I'm at and I have a child of my own, I'm having to go back and do the work. People do not understand how deep that is. My mother has a relationship that she has with her mom. I was blessed enough to know my great-grandmother. So I saw that relationship. And at that point, I knew, I'm like, oh, this is
We're going to
deep.
break this right here.
And surely enough, oddly enough, when I ended up finding out I was pregnant with my daughter, so mind you, everybody in my family has been married to the person that they have kids with, all the things. I'm the oddball out. Like when I got pregnant with my daughter, I told my mom, she was like, you need to get married to her father. Y'all have to get married. And I was like, I'm not getting married to him just because we have a child. I will have my child. If he wants to be around, perfect, great, awesome, cool. I'm not going to keep him from her. But I'm not doing it just because you guys think this is the way that it should go. And now that my daughter is 6 and I'm 6 years in as a mother, you would not understand what it feels like for your mother to look at you and tell you, I'm so glad and so proud of you for standing up and telling me no.
Yeah.
Because look at where you are.
Yeah.
And it's almost like in retrospect, I saw my mom seeing like the version of myself at that time and herself, and almost wishing like maybe she would have made a different decision,
Right.
or maybe she would have considered more things. My mother and I, since I have become a mom, have really been working on our relationship, because as a child, when it came to my mother, I always felt misunderstood. I had to get defensive. Her father was a military man, and then my dad's dad was a police officer. So imagine,
okay.
I come from
Yeah,
people who,
lots of regimen in the household.
it's tough, and I'm not like that. Like, I'm adventurous and stuff like that. My parents had to learn how to deal with me because I wasn't nothing like my sister. My sister was in the house, bookworm, like type. I want to be outside.
You
Like,
want to be outside?
let me jump a tree. That was just me. I had a conversation with my mom the other day because we had a little falling out. And sometimes you got to give yourself space from the people you love so you could put your boundaries so that they could understand. We ain't having that no more. I'm not a kid. When I was a kid, you could do that. Now I'm an adult with my own child, and we got to move accordingly. And that's hard to put in with your parents. But I had a conversation with my mom the other day after we had a falling out, and she expressed something, and I told her, I said, let me ask you something. Because in this moment, I've realized the best way to get through to my mom is using experiences and examples that hurt her the same way that she hurts me. And so I told my mom, I said, listen, when I tell you certain things, you come quick with what you think and how it's not this way. But you don't never come at me and say, how do you feel? What do you think? What do you want to do? How does that make you feel? I said, listen, when you told me about this conversation you had with your mother, go back in that time. If your mother would have came at you and said, if that's what you want to do, or did you write your pros and cons? Did you make the list? Don't you think you would have been in a different space? And so now it's just, even when I raise my daughter, like I try to communicate with her. I go to her level. I meet her where she's at, because at the end of the day, she has feelings, and those feelings matter to me. And so I knew that I'm trying to be for my daughter what I needed growing up. I'm very sensitive. As an Aquarius, I'm an outside gangster. But baby, inside, I'm a simp, okay? I'm crying.
Yeah. Are you a
And
Cancer moon or a
really-
Pisces moon?
I don't know.
We got to do that. We got to look in your chart.
We do. We really do. Because I've always wondered what's going on. Yeah. But with my daughter, I just have conversations with her. If I yell at her, I'll circle back. Hey, look, this is why I yelled. And mommy told you to do this 3-4 times in a very nice way. You didn't listen.
Yeah.
And then when I had to put the belt to the butt, not really, but you know how they say in the saying, then if I raise my voice, that's when you really, ooh, hold on. I don't want to do that. I want that to be the way that we communicate. Because at the end of the day, the relationship that you have with your mother is the one that sets the tone for every relationship you have going on.
Yeah.
And I want her to know you are a human being, you have your feelings, and you can communicate them. And you should never feel stunted, or in our culture growing up as Dominicans, like, you can't really speak on it. You're a child, so you got to stay in a child's place.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I want for my child.
Right. No, that's a really big deal. Like with my sister, she has 3 kids and she's very adamant of not wanting to raise them with the same discipline tactics that my dad had. And it's really interesting because my dad tries to that teetering around, how do I give you my input without overstepping the boundaries? My dad has a really hard time with the overstepping the boundaries part. It's really hard because I understand both sides because I'm a product of what my dad, the discipline that he gave us. And I see how I came out, right? And then I see how my sister's kiddos, how they function without that same discipline. And I'm like, see, if maybe you did what Poppy did, but you have to respect, you have to respect their parenting.
Very do.
But even in the smallest, slightest of things, like growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch TV during the week. So I was really into books. I was really into reading. I was always in the library. There wasn't room or space for me to question and argue with my dad about whether or not I could watch TV. It was just you not watching TV. So what is my other option? Okay, reading.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we got to do. So things like that. Whereas now with the kiddos, all they want are tablets. Y'all don't want to read? Put it down. You don't have a headache? I stare at a computer for 8 hours plus more, depending on what I'm doing. After I clock out, I don't want to look at my phone. I don't want to look at anything. Right. And y'all are glued like this to the tablets. I'm just like, y'all don't have a headache? Go outside. Touch the sun. I don't know.
Touch the grass.
Touch the grass. So it's just really interesting to see what works, what you don't want to do because you don't want to repeat, the generational things. And then, but having the other family members present out, I think it's a blessing as well. That's another thing to discuss about when you have the grandparents. It really does take a village to help you. My sister is happily married. My brother-in-law is an amazing, fantastic man. They've got 3 kids. My parents live 8 minutes down the road. I live 8 minutes down the other road. We're always, whenever my sister needs something, or I just be pulling up, hey, I'm here. And they're like, Dee. And then my sister and my brother be like, so can we go on a date? Can we just leave right quick? And I'd be like, yeah, I'll stay for whatever. But seeing how with all the help, right, that it's still a lot on my sister and my brother-in-law. I can't imagine when people don't. I used to have a friend that would tell me if she wanted to go out, she would be like, let me ask my sister if she'll babysit. Let me see how much I could pay her. And I'd be like, pay her? Why would you be paying your sister to watch her nephew? And I was just like, that concept to me was so weird. Don't you just willingly want to spend time with your nephew?
Get to know him.
Yeah. But it does take a village. Absolutely.
No, I would not be here if it was not for my parents. I got pregnant after graduating college, and
it's okay.
If it wasn't for my parents, I don't know where I would be. Like, they moved me up to my job. They drove from Miami to Augusta, Georgia. That's 10 hours. I was pregnant, and they were there. They moved all of my furniture into my apartment.
Yeah.
I had a baby shower here. I got so many gifts that they literally had to rent a van and drive up all the gifts to me. The reason I had furniture was because of them.
Yeah.
And I always say that my daughter, she was meant to be here for a reason.
Yeah.
But even now, like this summer, this last month, I've been doing my own thing, like working out, going to the gym because she's been here. My sister was amazing to just be like, hey, like my daughter's going to this summer camp for free. Do you want to bring your daughter? They could go together. And I'm like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I already signed her up. I did the application. I'm like, girl.
That's so beautiful.
And even then, like, when it comes to the summertime, my parents will be like, so are we getting her? What's the plan? Because that's the time that they get to spend with her because I don't live here. I live in Tallahassee. I live, 8 hours away?
Yeah.
So it is important to me the same way that I have my memories and all of the good pictures and all of that with my grandparents. I want the same for her.
Yeah. It's such a blessing though, man. I don't think that I realized until later in life. People don't grow up with their siblings, that people go years without speaking to certain family members. As a child, you hear about it, but it really isn't until you're an adult that you can really grasp the severity. I would hear that my dad didn't speak to certain siblings. And there was like, I think 2 siblings that he didn't speak to for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think of, that's so weird to me. It's so strange because I'm just like, I can't imagine not speaking to my sisters. I can't imagine my sisters ever doing anything that would push me to the point where I wouldn't speak to them for 20 years. Like siblings, you fight, you do this, you do that. Now, I'm not saying there are times where you've got some siblings that are just like, but for me, in my experience, I'm just like, there's nothing my sisters could ever freaking do that I would just be like,
I
love
cutting
that
them
for you.
off.
I love that for you too.
Because the fact that my sister has my daughter right now is a whole 180 from 2-3 years ago, because me and my sister did not speak for 2 years.
Yeah.
We had, I guess, a falling out. It just felt like at that time, we're both mothers. Like, could have put us in a predicament where, who knows? I was like, I got to take some time. I have to digest this. I have to process this, because your parents are going to see things a certain way. People around you are going to see things a certain way. The whole thing was that my sister's married. So if anything were to happen, she has someone that's going to be there for her daughter. Not to say that's not the case with my daughter and her father, but I'm with my daughter every day. Like, sometimes I feel she's all I have and vice versa. And so I've almost felt betrayed. Like, how could you do something like that? How could you do this? And then the amount of hurt was a different level. So it took me a year or 2. And so much so that my family would be like, why aren't you talking to your sister? Why aren't y'all talking? Where's your sister? Y'all, please don't force it. You gotta let people go through their own healing ways.
In my family, am very don't ask, don't tell. And everyone in my family has respected that. And I feel like that's probably why I can get away with saying that. I can't imagine, because when I left, like I moved out of my parents' house at 19.
Wow.
I didn't speak to my dad for a year, communicating with my mom, but through my sisters. And then I was mad at another sister. So there was a period, but at most it was a year. I just think that set the tone for them being so scared to ever have that happen again, that they were very like hands off. If Roselyn wants to share this with us, she'll share this. If she wants my opinion, she'll ask for it. If she needs something, she'll ask for it. So that's why now, almost 20 years later, everyone in the house, I think they tiptoe around me.
It's not like a program, but they just know. They're aware. And that's good, because you know what? At the end of the day, you're also realizing that they're respecting what you have put out there. In turn, is all you would want from your family. Respect whatever it is that you wish.
Yeah, exactly. It took me this to just realize.
As you say certain things, I look at you and I'm like, she's such a son, because I'm over here, girl, let me get some of that, because it's a beautiful outlook to have. Just wanting to show up and be there for your nieces and nephews and having that relationship with your sister. Like, what you have is really a blessing, because not many people have that. And if they do have it, it took them a while to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just like that. To me, for lack of a better term, it's just like that weird space when you're an adult. And it's now I have the choice if I want to be your family member or not.
I'll be honest, I haven't spoken to my mom in 2 months and change. And something that my wife said was, your kids react to you as an adult depending on how you treated them when they needed you to survive. And when she said that, it never dawned on me like, oh, all of this is a response of when I didn't have control, I accepted whatever the role, whatever the space was, whatever the rules that you had in place were. I have control now. I'm setting my rules. I'm placing my boundaries. I'm drawing my lines. And yeah, you may not like them. You don't gotta like them. You gotta respect them. Because I respected and still respect some of the things that you've drawn out, the way that you laid out the land before me. It goes back to that whole concept of your parents were like, hold on, whoa, okay, wait. We didn't know she could do that. We didn't know she could do that one. We got to reassess. All right, wait. Now we know she could do that. So how we going to move accordingly? I think when it comes down to people not talking to their family is because blood doesn't make you family. Like blood is like the baseline for family from the standpoint of the definition of family. What makes you family are all the other ways that you show up. How much you respect my boundaries, how much you support, how much we care for, how much, right. Will you decide unconditionally to still be there? There's some form of an understanding and entitlement with the term family that comes with that role.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm setting boundaries or expectations that don't apply to that word. It's just people aren't following the expectations tied to that word and still be expected to be called family.
Something that I have been working through in the past year is the roles that I play in other people's lives. And having come to realize or question really, if I stop playing that role, do you still like me?
Ooh.
Do you still want me around?
Do you still value me?
My entire life, I have functioned off of being the obedient daughter, the loving auntie, the supportive good girlfriend, all these things. I guess you can say in a way that I wouldn't say a people pleaser.
Oh, girl, that word.
I think I have a hard time with I wouldn't say a people pleaser because this is not for the general public. These are for the select few. But I started realizing I am always ready and willing to show up as this role that you've placed upon me. And then if I just decide I don't want to do those things anymore, I just don't want to show up like this anymore, and I just want to be regular old me, are you still going to value me?
Yeah.
And I think that becomes such a heavy topic, especially in the family setting. Because if I don't play by the rules that my parents were set, of course, parents are still going to love you.
Of
right?
course.
They're still going to love you.
Unconditional.
But is it going to become like, we don't have anything in common because you're not living your life by my expectations and my rules? Or like with your siblings, right? Both of my sisters are married, and my sister with kids lives a very Christian lifestyle. So if I don't want to conform to the guidelines you've set for your own life, are you interested in having chit chat with me outside of me coming over and babysitting?
And
you know what I
knowing
mean?
me for me.
And then if you take it a level further, then you really have to start asking yourself, well, who am I? When I've taken away all of these roles and all of the expectations and all of the things I do to show up for everybody else, who really is Roselyn?
There's this phase of rediscovery for the students of the people-pleasing game. Growing up, my mom, she would, oh, so-and-so did this, like comparison, or when you walk in here, you step a certain type of way. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I do not care. At the end of the day, why do you care? At the end of the day, if you can't call those people when you in a pickle, what's the point?
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I'm realizing like, it's okay to say no.
Yes.
It's okay not to always have to show up.
And the people-pleasing part is it's okay to say no and not feel guilty. Like the world is going to end because I said no.
Yep.
Because you'll say no and then it eats you up the entire rest of the day.
I got a question because you said it's okay to say no. You said your daughter's 6 years old.
Yeah.
How are you teaching her that?
You're listening to Growing Up Spanglish, recorded right here at CoLab Studios in Miami. Whether you're launching a podcast, shooting video content, or leveling up your brand, CoLab has the space, gear, and community to make it happen. Fast turnaround time, pro setup, and a creative vibe you won't find anywhere else. Need a studio? Pull up to CoLab. Book your free tour today at letscollab.us. That's Let's Collab with 1L.us. Ahora, back to the show.
Ooh, that's such a good question. Okay, so here's the thing. When my daughter was younger and she would have her the cry spells or whatever it is that they call them, or when she would be crying because her feelings, she felt some type of way, I would tell her, listen, go in the corner. You could sit at the corner, cry it out. Cry it all out. If I can't help you, go in the corner, cry it out. And then when you're ready to talk to me, come talk to me. Because when you're crying, I can't understand you. I want to understand you so we can get somewhere. But I understand that you are feeling what you're feeling. And until you feel it and let it out, we're not going to get anywhere. She's a little bit like me, and I see that. So with my daughter, she reminds me a lot of myself because she's very wise beyond her years too. But I just very much try to explain to her. I tried to give her understanding because I don't know if this was what it was like for y'all, but growing up is that the because I said so doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. Imagine we're adults. We have feelings. Sometimes we go through things and we're like, I don't even know what to do, how to express it, what to say. Imagine a child. So my goal as a mother is, hey, look, this is why we don't do this. Hey, this is why we do this. And even now as she gets older, she starts to see certain things. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Or she'll come and ask me, Mommy, what do you think about this? And she's 6, but she really is like that. My daughter, she has a nut allergy, so she's allergic to peanuts, like very bad. She will tell anyone, like, no, I can't have that. Or Reese's, no, I can't have that. Or if she's not familiar with the item or the food, does this have peanuts? I can't have peanuts. So to me, that for her is her advocating for herself. It may just be about peanuts today, but tomorrow it's going to be about something else. Right. But you understand how to advocate for yourself because you understand putting yourself first.
Yeah.
You answered my follow-up question, which was essentially how to differ from how your parents were, because you essentially said it was more so in this Caribbean culture as a whole, because I said so.
Yeah.
One thing that you're teaching your daughter critical thinking, what I'm hearing, right? Be able to say, I got Reese's, but that has peanuts. I can't eat peanuts, so I gotta say nah to this, and I gotta make a choice, and I gotta be okay with that choice. And I think that's ultimately like one of the most beautiful thing a parent can do. One thing I wish like our parents taught us in our generation wasn't the because I said so, right? Now you get to an adult age and you're like, I gotta make choices.
Hello.
And you like,
why am I making this choice?
I don't even know how to make this choice.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because you weren't taught to make choices. You were taught to do, to follow.
People please.
There you go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Full circle, right?
Look at the circle.
There you go.
It is. It's so insane. And it's such a rewarding, but such a wild feeling to be the child of parents and your parents look at you and feel like they wish they could have done what you do with their kid. I've had my mom tell me that, and I'm like, valid, I get it. I understand why. But wow, am I really doing that good of a job?
Let's talk more about the cultural side of it.
Of course.
And how are you incorporating your Dominican experience into her life?
My baby done been to DR every other summer. Family has land out there. My father built a house out there. And so my daughter has gone with them without me. She's gone with me. We've all gone together, but she understands that was my childhood. I had them summers, them 3 months. My mom, she picked us up. She got a suitcase, threw everything that was in the drawers, zipped it up to the airport we go.
I had the same experience. Now that you mention it, I just had a flashback. Like I remember I had a silly little boyfriend in middle school, and this was the summer from 8th to 9th grade. And I had the same thing. It's like school ended and like the next day you're going out. And I remember that he called me. He was like, oh, like, when do you think I'm going to be able to see you? And I'm like, I'm going to Puerto Rico, like in a few hours for 3 months. And he was like, so I'm not going to talk to you? And I was like, yeah, I don't think I could call you from over there.
My mom's like that.
And I was like, all right, gotta go, bye. And I went to high school, so I never saw that boy again.
And it was like, okay. Being able to teach my daughter, just being Dominican, she has to learn Spanish. She's shy about it now, but she understands it.
Okay.
And one thing about it, 2 things for sure, my baby will rice and beans you down to death. Just yesterday, my parents were like, do you want a pizza or do you want like rice and beans? She said, rice and beans.
I love it.
Like, she loves herself some salad, like the plantains. She's very much aware of the culture. And the baby been dancing since she was in the womb.
I love it.
She came out dancing. She loves the bachata, merengue. Like, she likes the rhythm. She likes the beat.
Now, are your parents doing the thing that they did to you, which was like you have to speak Spanish when you're at the house? Or now that it's the granddaughter, they're a little more?
Girl, first of all, I want to be a grandchild because who are these people that are grandparents?
Right, yes.
These are not the same people that raised me because they got McDonald's money all of a sudden. What? And they got for the ice cream and all that too.
You know what? You know what? They got McDonald's money because they don't want to cook for nobody.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
It's so much easier now.
You little drive-through, pick it up. Here you go. Boom, boom. Everybody happy. But my mom does because obviously she knows that it's important. It matters. It's a part of who we are. My dad's just very chill. He's just, as long as the kids are happy, if she want to speak English, Spanish, French, Creole, whatever it is, I'm good with it.
I think that's the beauty of like generationally raising your child. I have a cousin that I love from my mom's generation who treats my son when she's in town. That's her grandkid. You know what I'm saying? Knowing how close her and my mom were, her treating me like I'm her kid to some degree, it also speaks to that. There's something that your kid can't learn from you. They can only learn from that time and from those people. And from the standpoint of, oh, I'm going to remember these memories with my grandparent. And I'm probably going to do some of these things with my own kid and hope that my mom is as good as a grandparent as my grandparents were. There's also this book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. And he expresses that like in women, men and women differ very greatly in regards to how their seed is produced. Your seed, the woman, technically developed in your grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, when you think about it from that lens of my mom wasn't a thing yet, but I was already developed in her through my grandmother. For men, it's different because our sperm legit is changing with us as we're changing.
So true.
In real time, right? So when I look at it from the lens of how you're growing and who you're becoming, your daughter, yes, is your daughter, but there's a portion of her that's developed through your mother. So to see you and your mom have whatever the relationship is and your mom say, I'm proud of how you did it, I wish I did it your way, that has to be like the highest point, right? If there was one trait that you like got from your mom that you're hoping your daughter gets, what is that trait?
Strength. My mom is strong. Like, that woman is strong. Sometimes too strong. It's so funny that you asked that question because me and my mom yesterday were having a conversation. I just want you to know your daughter is very authoritative. Like, she's going to want it how she wants it. And I'm like,
that sounds like something. I know.
That sounds like it come down from the pipeline because I know I got it. And I know I got it from you. But like, God brought my daughter into this world so I could break that.
Elaborate if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. Like I mentioned, my grandmother, she was married, and I don't look down at anything because I wasn't there to understand. But my grandfather had a child outside of the marriage, and I could tell how my grandmother never let that go. And so it altered her a little bit. So then when you have someone who has not healed their own trauma or yet even been aware that it's there, and they take that and pour it into somebody else, and then that person thinks that it's okay because that's the only thing they know, it's not okay. Because then here I come, and I look at my mom, and I'm like, but you just told me that you felt this type of way because grandma did this to you. But I'm telling you that you are doing what has been done to you, that you don't like, you're doing it to me. And I'm not allowed to express my emotions because that's just how you are. I've gone to therapy. I'm a big advocate for therapy because you don't need to be crazy to go to therapy. In our culture, Dominican, you crazy if you go to therapy and all. And I said this to my mother. I was like, you know what's crazy? I feel that her and my dad got together and they grew in hurt. I don't feel like they grew in healing. Because he was going through his own stuff, she was going through their own stuff. They got together and never addressed it. So the hole is only going to keep imploding from the inside.
You saying some things, Ashley.
I've been saying I'm doing the work, y'all. Like, the work is hard work, but it is so rewarding when you start to have these moments of clarity like, oh, that all makes so much sense.
But addressing mental health within the Hispanic community or even the Caribbean community, taboo. One, because it's tied to religion, and two, because of the fact that like the more you start to work on yourself, you start to question things that starts to make people feel uncomfortable. And when you start making people feel uncomfortable because now you are functioning with respect of your own agency, who do you think you are? And it comes from a place of selfish in a way, because how dare you heal and how dare you work on things I was never given the opportunity to do so.
Listen, I just had this conversation. I had told my mom, like I said, you are doing what your mother has done to you to me. And in that moment, she paused and she said, I'm going to ask you one thing. I'm going to ask you to not compare me to my mother. And I said, oh, let's sit in this for a second. I said, you came with that response because you feel either one, triggered, or you feel like it fits. Because if it didn't fit, you wouldn't feel no type of way, because it was a moment for you to have to realize and also take accountability. Do you remember your parents or yours often apologizing to you as a child?
No.
That's what I do with my child.
Yeah.
I do that with my child.
Yeah.
I let her know, Mommy's sorry. I am sorry. I was wrong. I apologize to my child because I always say, if I don't apologize to her, how is she going to know when to apologize? And how is she going to know when an apology is real?
See, but I think that comes from a woman's perspective. My dad in the household was the authoritarian, disciplinarian. I don't think that as a man, you sit there and ever question whether you were too harsh or he gonna get ready to.
Yeah.
Because I think that your brain, as a man, the brain functions as a
Provider.
and decision maker. And so I said this. And so this is, I don't think that a man stops and says, oh, let me acknowledge to my child that, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or even my dad's choice of disciplining us. I used to get spanked a lot. And
That switch.
no one ever talked about it. And it was embarrassing as a child to go to church and have welts on my leg with my cute little church dress.
But why do you think that is? Or why do you think that was? Because it's not out, but why do you think that was at the time?
I think it's a generational thing. Our parents were raised a certain type of way, and you never questioned it. You never said anything. And I think that our generation was kind of right there toeing the line of, I'm going to call CPS on you.
Hello.
And the kids now, they will call CPS on me. And I would have never, that would have never even crossed my mind. But we just didn't talk. I remember the day, man. I remember the day. You know how there's just things that you remember so clearly? I remember the day my dad stopped spanking me. And I was 12 or 13. We used to have dogs, and it was my chore to change the dog's food, change the dog's water, clean out the bowl and all that stuff. And sometimes I just didn't feel like cleaning. I changed the water, but I didn't feel like cleaning the damn bowl. And my dad, he would never just be take my word for it, right? So he goes and looks at the bowl, and I think he passed his finger on the bowl, and boom, I went to get hit. And I just remember that I didn't react. And I don't know if it was me testing him. And I think that made him even more mad that he stopped and just sent me to my room. And I just remembered sitting in my room and I was mad. At that point, I stopped being the child who just accepts the discipline. And I became maybe a teenager that was what the hell? No, you're not gonna. And I just remembered from that point, he no longer spanked me. I think it just infuriated him even more.
You gotta find something new.
You think you big? If I was a boy, that would have been a different situation.
I would have been telling a different story.
I wanted to touch on the sorry, the man, all the things.
Please do.
All the things. I can vividly remember the times my mom did say sorry. The most impactful time was probably when we were becoming adults, and my youngest brother was now graduating high school and going to college, and decided that he wasn't going to take a traditional route to college, right? He wanted to go to school for music. It made her pause and assess her life in a way that she might not have before in regards to choices that she might have had. And she said, I'm sorry for forcing you guys to go the school route. I never considered all of the options you guys would have by the time you were ready to go to school. And now I'm at this age and reconsidering a career shift because it's available to me. That was one of those moments that it was oh, it's up now. I'm doing whatever the hell I want. The choices that I have to make them completely with my own life and thought. In our parents' generation, yeah, I would align with you that men don't say sorry. In the generation that I'm a part of, as a parent and as a man, I'm watching the men that are around me update the toolkit for sorry to be part of the vocabulary.
Yeah, breaking those curses.
Totally. And transparently, it's because our parents didn't have that in their toolkit. So they just, well, this how my dad did it. I think that's what allows us the space to say sorry now, right? Is we understand when we're wrong because we didn't clearly explain, because we are explaining now.
Yep.
We're having these conversations now. We're telling our kid now, yo, this is what's right. This is what's wrong. This is why I said X, Y, and Z. This is why I made this choice. And when you don't do any of that, and then you do an action, you feel like, oh, that was unfair. And that's why I'm saying sorry. You know what I mean? I think it's part of the toolkit that our generation has, hopefully creating healthier kids at some point, and that they'll go on and figure out whatever that next toolkit upgrade or update is. Yeah. They'll apply it somehow, some way, if they decide to have kids.
I love that toolkit analogy. I'm going to keep that in there.
Hey, by all means.
And now you said something that triggered something for me in a good way of, as we get older and our parents get older, I'm starting to realize I can't explain with my parents. I got to show. And I say that because when things happened at the job that I had, and at that time I had to pivot. I was doing lashes on the side. I got my certification as a lash tech, started doing it on the side. And when I lost my job, I told my mom, I'm taking this full throttle. I'm going to go get a beauty bar. I'm going to do the whole thing, and I'm going to figure it out. Her response, you're going to lose the 4 years that you went to college for your degree to go do some lashes? For what? That don't make sense. And my mother told me the other day when she came to visit, she looked around, she looked at me, and she was like, this kept you afloat when you didn't have nothing. And I told you that I was negative about it. But I'm so proud of you because even with my negativity, you blocked it out and you showed me. So I also think it's understanding that our parents, unfortunately, also came from limiting beliefs. If they can't see it or envision it for themselves, the mental capacity doesn't allow them to see it for someone else. And so when they do see it for someone else, that's when it's for them, it's, oh, I could have done that. I just had to stick it through.
NBA draft just happened. And one of the players, his mom is Filipino. She went viral because she's hot. Transparently, I'm just being honest. Sorry. I don't know your mom's name or your name, really, but hey, your mom was hot. Sorry, wife. But they went viral. But she was married to a basketball player who was also a professional player at some point. Okay. And they were talking about how in his rookie year, he's going to make more than his dad ever made as a single play, like throughout his entire career. Someone reposted it and it said, parents, just so you understand, your ceiling is your kid's floor.
Right.
Like,
that's a good one.
That's what you're talking about, is your parents' ceiling, the limiting beliefs were your floor. And you go, there's so much more here. And they're like, I can only see right here. And then you go, show them there's more by raising their ceiling because your ceiling now is higher. So it's stuff that, like, it's part of the process of helping them grow. And in turn, helping yourself grow and helping your daughter grow. Like, all of that is related some crazy, wild way.
I really like that because I feel like in terms of as products of a household where parents are still together and gave you the best that they could in terms of having a roof over your head and food on the table and all those things, it comes with a sense of privilege where you feel guilty when you're not following the traditional route they want you to take. But if I take this, your ceiling is my floor, my foundation. That's awesome. It makes you feel a little bit better that it's just, I know that I'm not taking the routes you wanted me to take, but you giving me the life that you gave me affords me the opportunity to explore life from my terms. Ooh. And I think there should be something about that parents should be happy about.
Bro, when I tell you I went through that this week on some like wild, like, I was just assessing my life. I move around a lot for work and a lot of different things happen, like really beautiful things happen. And I know, like, it kills me that my mom's not witnessing or doesn't understand what I do and all the things that contribute to the life that I live now. Bro, my son, I was watching like videos. I was away from my son this week for traveling for work, and I was watching videos of him and his feet, like he's playing with his aunt in the pool in our backyard, and he's just kicking his feet around. And at some point he like looks up like perfectly at the camera as if he knew I was there. And like at the moment I'm looking at his eyes in the video, something for me goes, this is why. You didn't have a pool when you were a kid. You essentially grew up in a 1-bedroom basement in Brooklyn, New York with 5 other people or 4 other people. That was at the time the ceiling when your mom was conceived you, whatever the case is. Now look at where you are and what your kid is starting his life out as. Imagine, because of the shoulders you've given him to stand on, how much further he can see than you will. That was like a real thing that happened for me. And while you say parents should be, some parents can't get past the guilt or resentment that you don't have to struggle the way that they did to get to a life that feels better to them, because they don't understand the sacrifice you still had to make to get here.
I think it also boils down to seeing success differently. A lot of what we're talking about today comes from the mental health aspect. And I think that a lot should be said where, in a way, inadvertently, our parents affording us the lifestyles that they did gives us room to be able to explore our mental health in a capacity they were not able to.
They were surviving, bro.
Exactly.
Hello, survival mode is real. And as we're talking about this, I'm a visionary person, so it's so crazy. You said something that triggered like an image, the resentment piece. For example, this table. You know that at some point a child is not able to reach this table. They can't see what's on the table. They can probably put their little fingers on it, but they can't see it. But then somebody comes and gives that child a step stool.
Now they step up.
And now they step up and they see the table. And it's like our parents did that for us, but they don't see that. They allowed us to see the table. We're seeing the table because this is what you helped us do.
Yeah.
So when we're at the table, we want to bring you, but the limiting beliefs can't come with you because you won't understand fully.
But also, I think our parents look at some things as, okay, you made it to the table. You can see the table. You owe me a seat at the table now.
Wow.
That's different.
That's
You owe me a
I don't
seat
think
at the
I've
table.
experienced that.
But why is that? Why would I owe you a seat at the table?
Because
I
of
didn't ask to be
sacrifices.
here.
Boom.
My daughter didn't ask to be here.
Boom.
You made that choice when you decided that you were going to have me.
Boom. I ain't got a bomb drop, but boom.
You feel me? Again, to me, it gives you haven't done your self-work, because at the end of the day, when I think about my daughter, like, of course, I want her to be able to experience so much and do so much to the point where I'm like, anything that I can do to help you get there, I'm going to do. I may not know how, I may not know in what capacity, but I'm going to do what I can. I should have said this at the beginning. This is not to take away from my parents, any parents. I feel like they did the best they could with what they knew how and what they had. And so as years go on, we get more tools to our tools box. And I think for them, it's also a moment of, dang, why didn't I have that tool? Or where did you get that tool? Like, why wasn't that a tool given to me?
Yeah, I think this ties into your earlier question. Would it be nice if now as an adult, in some capacity, my dad apologizes for some things? Sure, absolutely. I would probably crumble and cry. But at the same time, I also function from a space that I can and have moved on with my life without those acknowledgments and validations. That's not easy for everyone. It's not something everyone can do. That's just how I have been able to function through life. So while it would be nice to be able to have, I think it's great that you have those conversations with your mother. I don't know that I could have those conversations with my parents.
They aren't easy. And I have them because, one, I know nobody else is going to have them, and two, they need to be had. I'm having this conversation with you because I love you. I love you so much that I'm going to let you know where I'm hurting so that we can have a good relationship, so that you don't continue to hurt me, because I want to have this relationship with you. And now it's, if I get it from them, I feel like, okay, cool, you're growing. Like, you're understanding. To me, sometimes I feel like an apology also means you see me. You know, you see your child. And if they don't, that's fine too. But I just feel like it's a conversation that their younger self needed too.
Mm.
That their parent didn't know how or whatever the case is. And I think now too, I'm learning that your parents get delicate. They have feelings too. So it's a matter of not what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop there. But hey, take us to a break real quick. And
Yeah,
then,
we're gonna take a quake. We're gonna take a break really quickly. And we'll be right back. Woo! That was a lot to unpack, I'm not gonna lie. We're healing and breaking generational curses on Growing Up Spanglish. Make sure to join us next week as we continue this amazing chat with Ashley.
Yo soy Boricua.